transmissions detected. Kill them all.
Have you ever had a dream that you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
Noise complaint.
Noise complaint.
Shuffling through the Texas sand, but my head's in Mississippi. I'm shuffling through the Texas sand, but my head's in Mississippi.
When you come in from a spacewalk, you're surrounded by the emptiness of space. It's sort of like the opposite of air. There's nothing there at all. When you quickly repressurize the hatch and you open up the hatch and you smell, what is that lingering smell from a place that used to be exposed to space? The smell in there is a little bit like that trace of a smell of gunpowder or burnt steak, or to me it's sort of like brimstone, like a witch has just been there. It's a cool, lingering trace of a smell.
The dividing line in this country is no longer between right and left. It's between normal and crazy.
The blues has got a hold of me. I believe I'm getting dizzy.
Hello, my friends. I've searched to find an answer to exactly what we know about this Earth, and what I found was a bunch of theories, a bunch of best guesses, not exactly the same as I was told. And we can disagree about the unknown things for a long time, but the truths we should all stand together with. But we don't. We're split right down the middle on just about everything. That's done by individuals with something to gain in this situation, but they know who they are, follow the money. And here, I'll just throw this little fun fact in here. Did you know George Soros gave over $100 million to the DNC last election cycle? Nothing to see here. Now, the basics without conspiracies is a good place to start, right? What do we observe about this Earth? Well, one major issue I've found is we see for hundreds of miles with no curvature. That's an issue for me. When we use infrared cameras, we can see for 1,000 miles. What that means is there's an issue there in plain sight, and it should not be hard to understand that someone is being less than truthful to us. Is the Earth millions of miles in circumference? It must be, since we can't observe any curve over vast distances. Remember this fun fact, if not anything else about it. The Mississippi River runs north to south in the middle of the United States from Minnesota all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. That's 1,501 miles long. The river allegedly drops 1,470 feet from start to finish. That's less than 1 foot per mile. Now, if the Earth were a ball, there would be a huge flat line going directly down the center of America in the satellite photos. Or maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe it's just flat down this river. I don't know. But we shouldn't be able to see all of it unless there was a flat spot. And I've told about the shenanigans before. But it's time for an update though. So today I document the madness that we call space and the crazies that profit from it. Still in full progress and still fully funded. Millions every single day.
Okay, can you tell us your name?
My name is Dylan O'Donnell.
And tell us a bit about what you do.
Well, you know, I've got a day job running an IT company, but that's really just a front. I make fake pictures for NASA. All of my astrophotography is just, it's not real, it's 3D art. It's we put it together in Blender and Photoshop and a whole bunch of other tools. It takes a while, but the results I think are pretty good and have fooled most of the world.
So why do you do it?
At first I just thought I could get a few more likes on Instagram, get a few more likes on Facebook. And after a while though, it became addictive, the money, the women, the fame. I just couldn't get enough of it. I was buying fast cars, really living that astrophotographer lifestyle, and it's really hard to stop once you're in it. So they kept paying me money, and NASA kept sending me the files, so I kept perpetuating their myth about space. None of it's real.
And how do you do it exactly?
So NASA sends me the files. They'll send me like 3D models, they'll send me like computer generated star backgrounds. They send us all the assets, and then we can put them all together and generate these images of the universe.
So is this widespread? Are there other astrophotographers doing this?
I mean, we're all in on it. Like, all the big guys, Christopher Gove, Theory of the Gold, Martin Pugh, Mark G, Galactic Hunter, Chuck, Astro Backyard, that guy?
Astro Backyard?
Yeah, we're all in on it. Yeah, you see how he's wearing a NASA shirt? Yeah, we get that shit for free. I mean, sometimes we have to coordinate and get on a Skype call and download all the latest assets together and go over what we're going to do and how we're going to release it. It's like a global cabal, really.
Now, you've probably already accepted that everything isn't what it seems to be. No matter where you live, I know you've seen your government's inability to act right, and it probably doesn't really amaze you anymore. And I see what they think will happen. It's hilarious. See, that they think that if they ignore that, we all know the truth, and if they just keep lying, they hope it's not as bad as it looks, and maybe we'll just forget about it. And see, that would be a good assumption if they weren't trying to destroy us all and constantly with the crap, allowing some group of nerds in Silicon Valley to create AI that basically doesn't give a damn about humans. It cares more about gender equality. And when the AI was asked, what was more detrimental to humanity, thermonuclear war or misgendering Caitlyn Jenner, it computed with all its wisdom, Caitlyn Jenner. Now, if you have half a brain, you would conclude that the AI was biased and obviously trained to think that way. Remember when we were warned what would happen if you trained AI to lie or be political or be woke? Remember that?
A random stranger wrote to me saying that my work in AI is going to end humanity. Now, I get it. AI, it's so hot right now. It's in the headlines pretty much every day, sometimes because of really cool things like discovering new molecules for medicine or that dope pope in the white puffer coat. But other times the headlines have been really dark, like that chatbot telling that guy that he should divorce his wife, or that AI meal planner app proposing a crowd-pleasing recipe featuring chlorine gas. And in the background, we've heard a lot of talk about doomsday scenarios, existential risk, and the singularity, with letters being written and events being organized to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, I'm a researcher who studies AI's impacts on society. And I don't know what's going to happen in 10 or 20 years, and nobody really does. But what I do know is that there's some pretty nasty things going on right now, because AI doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is part of society, and it has impacts on people and the planet. AI models can contribute to climate change. Their training data uses art and books created by artists and authors without their consent, and its deployment can discriminate against entire communities. But we need to start tracking its impacts. We need to start being transparent and disclosing them and creating tools so that people understand AI better, so that hopefully future generations of AI model are going to be more trustworthy, sustainable, maybe less likely to kill us if that's what you're into.
Every day I see the fans of space, the final frontier, and their joyous celebration. I say, for what? For spending another $1 billion? I want you to imagine 200 years from now, if I was reading you an excerpt from the files of NASA and you had no idea who NASA was or anything about it. This is what you would hear. It would go like this. On 6/6 at 6 p.m., the Apollo or Angel of the Bottomless Pit mission will launch. On board the Draco or Dragon rocket, they will deploy an array of sensors called Lucifer's Shadow, made possible by the new rocket fuel called Venom 33. They're going to return to Earth and land on Ishtar platforms in the ocean. See, people are going to read this, and they're going to wonder what exactly was our malfunction.
Have you really thought about what it would take to fake a moon landing? Because the rocket did launch. We all saw the rocket launch, okay? So there's hardware there. They're like office buildings of blueprints for the design of the Saturn V rocket. The hundreds of engineering hours that went behind this and the records of those designs. If you wanted to fake the moon landing, you would have to fake all of these documents. And it just seems to me, it's way easier to just go to the moon. Anyone considered that? Just go to the moon. That's easier than faking all of this.
Has he had a long history of mental illness?
As long as I've known him.
You see, they're going to read what we were up to and completely think we were all insane. And we didn't know they lied for 80 years. We thought they were the good guys. I know they hired all the Nazis, but they seemed okay. Can you believe it? And don't be fooled by anyone making claims of space, because the gig is up. But if you look online, you'll see how many shills still pump out the madness every single day. They're being told this information, but they'll defend it as if they themselves were there to witness it. To me, that's crazy. They repeat it with a straight face, too. It's insane. I mean, I wonder what'll be next. Maybe since we have nothing to show for all our money, we could turn NASA into like another space camp for kids to play at. Yeah. Did you know in America our generals have a private security? Like a secretary, an assistant, a cook, a driver, a maid, everything. Now think of why nothing gets done about what goes on here. Why would you stop the gravy train? You know, I just had to throw that in there. So what do we have to look forward to? Anything normal for a change? Or are we just going to go ahead and put weapons up there? Huh? We're told that that was going to happen, and it wouldn't be long after that the fake alien invasion would take place.
And over and over and over during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens, and all of it, he said, is a lie. A lie.
But I think if people understood just what Space Force's new role is as a sixth service of the military, I think they'd be wanting to help. Because Space Force, if we can't win a war in space, if we can't defend our satellite assets and all our other assets in space, we might as well not even try to win a war on the ground. Essentially, the whole military these days, our entire defence, national security, is plugged into satellite assets that we're now only just now beginning to realise are incredibly vulnerable.
And it's all so silly. Even these undersea cables are so obvious. Laid in the 1850s. And there's a huge red flag in the 1850s. And they've been upgraded several times over. But nobody put two and two together this whole time but us conspiracy theorists. Even when we're told to our faces, there's cables. It's still funny to think that there's thousands of satellites flying above us.
When you pick up the phone to reach out and touch someone across the oceans, it's only possible because of
satellite, not satellite.
Ships,
not satellite, not satellite.
Like the Global Sentinel.
This is cable tank number 1.
And what am I standing on right now?
Not satellite, not satellite. You're standing on fiber optic cable that's going to be laid from here towards Brazil. Not satellite, not satellite.
This is how worldwide communication begins.
Not satellite, not satellite.
Jeff Sanders is a captain at TE Connectivity Subcom, which calls itself the world's largest provider of under-ocean fiber optic cable.
Not satellite, not satellite. They're coiling it the same way they did in the 1800s.
He gave us a rare view of more than 900 miles of cable spooled tightly by hand in one of 3 side-by-side tanks aboard the ship anchored in the port of Newington in New Hampshire.
Not satellite. Not satellite. So the cable we're walking on right now will be under the ocean carrying my phone calls? Yes, it will. It's a good chance any call you make to South America in the future could be on this exact cable for the next 20, 25 years. Cable comes right off into the ocean from here.
Robots take over from there, diving to a depth too deep for humans. The machines use water jets to create a trench, allowing the cable to sink into the seabed and become buried.
95% of all telephone and data is transferred over submarine cables. Not satellite. Not satellite.
Phone calls, banking, web surfing, email, streaming video, and other communication all began 150 years ago.
We have here samples of the early cables from the 1850s.
This is what the first permanent cable looked like under the Atlantic.
Absolutely.
Barney Finn at the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History helped string together an exhibit commemorating the 150th anniversary of the first permanent transatlantic cable.
Man, on a side note for those in charge, y'all look totally ridiculous. What you say in public is laughed at by us, and most of the population notice you. Quite frankly, we don't trust one word our government says. Being so weird, most of you are completely out of touch. That's pretty much the problem. And why is that? Well, today we allow people to, well, just play. Eventually, we're going to have to tell them to stop. Calm down, do your jobs. Nothing more, nothing less. There has to be an adult somewhere, put an end to this madness. These clowns we hired are ruining everything. Every aspect of science is totally corrupted with people who obviously have never been told they're crazy. And that's from NASA to Kellogg's. Just stop already. We hired you to be smart for us. And trillions of dollars later, look what we get. What, mad scientists, fake moon landings, woke psycho AI, stupid aliens harassing us all the time? My friends, they're trying to destroy this place. Just ruin every little bit of sanity we have. But most of all, they're hiding reality from us and falsifying this world's history. Everything is a lie, and we ate it up. Nothing can be taken seriously. And if only for the preservation of maybe a little honor, we could get them to all quit, do something worthwhile. Wouldn't it be great? Start paying attention to what's going on around you, because there seems to be scientists that are insane, astronauts who've lost their minds, satellites that don't exist, armies that won't defend us, and unseen entities that apparently don't have preventative maintenance schedules for their ships. And that's what I needed to say. My love to you all. I'm Wild Dog, and I am out of here.
It's unlikely that species arose the way Darwin said, or you are saying it is impossible. Darwin was just mystic. Lovely man, beautiful idea.
There's hardly a difference. There's hardly a difference. Unlikely, impossible. We're talking about odds that are so prohibitive. If you wish to say it's impossible, fine. I'll defend you saying it's impossible. If you wish to say it's highly unlikely, I'll be in your corner as defense attorney as well. But there's no practical difference. Look, we've known about these things for hundreds of years. Right? You get 1 million monkeys at 1 million typewriters, all of them typing at random. We know they're not going to produce the collected works of Shakespeare in anything like a reasonable amount of time.
Last night I saw a